Welcome to Gather for Wellness Radio. I'm your host, Becky Litwicki, and it's Wellness Wednesday, which means we get to connect with another kindred spirit to expand our health and happiness and move one step closer to discovering our own magic formula for optimal wellness. I'm so happy to be with you here today, sharing my conversation with Clara Angelina Diaz, who is on a mission to empower women to increase their confidence and income by discovering their life's purpose and developing a positive mindset to achieve greatness. She's got a different approach to things, which was totally refreshing. I hope you enjoy. Here's a sneak peek.
I truly believe that living a life on purpose is living a life of peace and joy. And no matter what you're doing, you can bring that spirit of peace and joy to what you're doing. And I truly believe that when you adopt, a feeling of peace, a feeling of joy, a feeling of excellence, of love, things around you start to transform.
Clara, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to hear your story and share your wisdom with the listeners, so thank you.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm really excited.
Absolutely. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and the journey that's kind of brought you to what you're doing these days?
Yes, well, who I am, I believe deep down that I am a daughter of God, that my purpose here is to serve as an example of empowerment and to help women remember that they are powerful, that they can live their own unique lives, and that, happiness and greatness is something that is very personal to each person, and that it is okay to pursue that and pursue happiness and pursue your own way with joy, and that it is okay to be different and to allow who you are to naturally unfold. And more professionally speaking, I have a life coaching practice, and I focus on working with women, professional women and entrepreneurs, and just women who are interested in stepping out of their comfort zones and building a better life and just a better reality for themselves.
Cool. So I know on your website you talk about helping women to discover their life purpose, and it's definitely not something that's easily accomplished. And I think, and maybe I'm just making an assumption that a lot of the people you work with have likely already been kind of trying to uncover that. So what do you do that's different to help people kind of discover what their life's purpose is?
Well, my idea of what someone's life purpose is, I truly believe that living a life on purpose is living a life of peace and joy. And no matter what you're doing, you can bring that spirit of peace and joy to what you're doing. And I truly believe that when you adopt, a feeling of peace, a feeling of joy, a feeling of excellence, of love, things around you start to transform. And I think that being on purpose is really a spirit that you bring to things. I don't feel like there's one particular thing that every person is supposed to do. I think that you are allowed in life to try a bunch of different things, to allow who you are to be expressed in many different ways, to serve in many different ways, and that your purpose is to do what you're doing in the best possible way that you can do it. And if you feel like, you try one thing and that's not it, you feel like it's not feeling right or it's just not syncing, you have all the permission in the world to try the next thing. But I think the key in that is to do everything with as much excellence joy and peace as you possibly can. Just doing the best you can. And I think that, there's so much pressure put on us to, like, find your life purpose and make things happen. And I think that, yes, we should definitely work on making things happen. But I think there's a piece of just allowing, like, the natural flow of life to take us to what we're supposed to be working on, and to embrace, like, giving ourselves permission to just embrace what's happening at the moment, and just looking around for a second and seeing, like, okay, wow, like, I'm here for a reason, and why not embrace what's already here?
Yeah, everything you're saying is, I feel like, resonating so deeply with me. I love your perspective on a life's purpose, because for so long I was the person who was like, okay, I need to find, like, there's a job, that, like, there's a certain very specific detailed thing that I should be doing. And instead, if you look at it the way you're suggesting, like, just living from a place of love and joy and things like that, like, it transforms into so much of, like, who you are versus, like, what it is that you're doing. And I think to find those people in the world who are living on purpose in that way, like, from a place of love, like, they're just such a, like, a ray of light. And it's, I think they help people and inspire people without even trying to. So I really love that point of view that you have.
Yeah, I mean, and I can totally, I totally understand what you mean, because for a long time, I myself questioned what my purpose was for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look back on my life, so many amazing things happened for me, but I was always so busy trying to kind of get to the next thing, like always getting to the next thing and the next thing, instead of, like, embracing where I was. And when I don't know, I just kind of had an epiphany of, like, wait a minute, but everything I live, every single situation, every single incarnation of my talents is leading me towards the next thing. And, like, that is the gold, right? Like, the gold, not the goal, but the gold of life, right, is, like, to embrace the journey. And, like, that's kind of like a cliche, like, embrace the journey,
no, but it's so true, yeah. And if you can stick to that and actually, like, live by that, I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
I think, too, I think it was when I was doing designer prep stuff, she was talking about how it's so easy, like you were saying, to get into that, like, striving mindset to, like, become something and be something and, want change and things like that. And I don't think anything of that is bad, but she said, start looking in your life, like, say you want more financial abundance, look around in your life, like, this present moment, and recognize all the financial abundance that you do have, like, or, maybe you want to have better relationships, like, start looking in your life and seeing where those things are already existing, and maybe you're just overlooking them, and just, like, shifting the mindset simply like that can make such a difference.
Yeah, totally. I mean, one big example for me of that was in my previous profession. That was called a profession because I was actually getting paid I was painting and people were buying them, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? Like, what? But I was so, at that time, I feel like I just wasn't, I wasn't in tune with this idea that we're talking about now, to look at your purpose as kind of like a spirit that you bring to what you do. I was so busy looking for the next thing, like, okay, I'm an artist. Like, how did this ever emerge? I didn't go to art school.
Right.
But it was something I was so naturally good at. I guess, the world just needed that expression of me. I needed to be that expression at that time. And I can see now, like, how, I was just not a artist of paintings. Like, now I feel like I'm an artist of life. to be able to create my own life in the way that I see and feel is best for me, but then also helping other people to say, yeah, like my life, everything I've been through is beautiful. Regardless of the pain, that's beautiful too, because it's helped to shape who I am. And then just taking that perspective and that new energy into building the next thing. And it's truly miraculous. Well, I think what can happen when you start to shift your perception from really like embracing who you are now, your experiences from the past, and start living in a new way, more present than before. I mean, it truly is miraculous what can happen.
Yeah. So I feel like life coaching has become a lot more prevalent in the last few years, and just personal development programs and things like that. How is a life coach beneficial to someone who's listening in either life or business?
Oh my God, it's like hugely beneficial. It's really interesting because, a lot of people don't have kind of like a good idea of what life coaching actually is. So I think it's worth for me to just kind of define it a little bit. Life coaching is a deep conversation between two people sharing a sense of responsibility for the success of the person being coached. And then it has these two two things that it does. It provides a person with like a deep inquiry as to what it is they want to do, why they want to do it. It just goes really, really deep into questioning anything that the person wants to do, beliefs around that thing that the person wants to do, or a challenge they're having. And then it provides advocacy for the person being coached to move towards where they want to go. And, what I want to have people question is when in their lives have they ever had someone who will listen to them non-judgmentally, unconditionally, have them look to the light of what their life could be like, or how a problem could be solved in many different ways, and really question like all the beliefs that lie behind the idea that you may actually have a problem, where sometimes you don't. It's just a matter of just shifting your perception. That's what a coach does. And the thing is that, this art of listening deeply to someone, it's like a lost art. Even if a person, right, goes to a lamppost every day and talks to them about everything that's happening to them, that's beneficial. So imagine what can happen when you come together with someone who is there for you, in your corner, wanting you to move towards success, has a buy-in to your success, not theirs, or how you're going to serve theirs, but yours. I mean, it's really miraculous. I mean, this word miraculous is coming a lot in our conversation, but I have seen miracles happen with my clients. I mean, for example, with one of my clients, when we started working together, it was all about his finances and like getting his finances in order and increasing his income, which he absolutely did, by more than 50%. Jobs started coming to him. He started just being more conscientious of his finances. It was awesome. But the best thing that happened out of all of that was that he told me that he became a better father. He became a better father from our coaching, and we never intended for that to happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like when you focus your energy on improving things in your life, it has, I think, a profound effect on every other area of your life.
Yeah.
And that's
it's
what
a ripple effect for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people have ideas. I mean, ideas are there's not a shortage of ideas for what people want or what they feel like they should be doing or what they really want to be doing, or, things like that. But it's always, I feel like, the implementation action part of it that kind of is where things get a little bit rocky. And I love that life coaches can bring a non-emotional accountability to working towards a life goal. What suggestions do you have for people who kind of, they know what they want, they know where they want to get there, they just have problems like actually implementing it and staying consistent in working towards it?
Well, yeah, I mean, that a life coach can definitely help you can help hold you accountable to take those actions. I mean, you know what you want, I mean, some people even know how to get there. It's just, I mean, it's very different for you to know what you have to do and then actually do it, right? And so one of the things that I love suggesting to my clients is that, let's say they set out to take a certain action today, like, if you're trying to lose weight and your action for the day is to go to the gym and take a class. After you take the class, reward yourself with something. Like this idea of rewarding ourselves is also a lost art, I believe, because we're so many times just pushing ourselves to do the next thing. So I think, one is slowing down, like actually slowing down to acknowledge what's going on. I believe that less is more. So if there's just one thing that you can do, that powerful one thing, focusing on that one thing that you can do to move yourself forward, and then celebrating your accomplishments by rewarding yourself. And I think that, this idea of creating those neural pathways in your mind, in your brain, where you associate one action with a positive reward, with something positive is going to come out of this. I mean, definitely, yes, the result of the work you're doing, that's one thing, but immediately, how can I celebrate what I've done? And that will motivate you. I mean, if you do it consistently, it will motivate you to continue doing the action or those actions that are necessary until it becomes natural. And one day you won't need to reward yourself, or you won't even probably have to write it down because it's so natural to you. I mean, I put myself as an example with that. Getting out of the house to go to the gym is very hard. But once I'm there, I'm having a great time, and afterwards I feel amazing. So ways I do make sure to reward myself after. I already have in my mind, like, okay, if I walk out of here, I know how I'm going to feel, and I start to think about that.
Yeah.
And I have a 3-month-old, so you can imagine, like, all I want to do is just be with my little baby all day, cuddled up, but I know that I need to get back in shape and do the things I need to do. So focusing on one thing at a time and really honoring what you do, even if it's a small baby step.
Yeah. I think, too, I've always enjoyed working out, but then I got to a point where I was kind of like just doing it because I knew I was supposed to. Mm-hmm. And then I started tuning into more so, like, afterwards, I'll make sure that I sit for just a few minutes and kind of just soak in, like, how good it feels to, even if I'm, like, super sweaty and gross and, tired or sore or something like that, like, just soak in, like, I did it for myself, I did, like, the endorphins are flowing, and I just feel better. And so when I give myself that extra minute or two, or whatever time allows for, it kind of enforces that behavior a little bit more. Like, that's right, I do feel really good afterwards. Versus like if I just kind of like jump in the shower and run on to the next thing, like I don't get to kind of like enforce really how incredible it is, to work my muscles out and move my body and things like that. But that can be applied to so many other things too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, just like sitting there and acknowledging. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even, like, how about, when, after, like, when you're sweaty and gross and then you take a shower and you feel, like, light as a feather?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Where do you stand on following your intuition? I know a lot of the guests that I have on my show talk about, easing up on striving and kind of more so following your intuition. But I feel like maybe, and this might be misunderstanding, but I feel like a life coach would be more so in tune with like setting the goals and having that mission to accomplish and things like that. So how do you deal with like intuition that comes into play during that working towards a goal?
Oh, my God. I am a very big promoter of intuition. I have myself an active intuition practice. I think, the dance between following your intuition and then setting hard goals is, it's really a dance. It's really a thing. Goals for me are like, I'm telling the universe, hey, universe, God, all powerful, I want these things. Like, these are, let's think of like goals as buckets, right? And we'll think of the universe as like an ocean. And a goal, let's say it's like if you have a really big goal, you go over to the ocean and, depending on the size of your bucket, you pick up as much water as you can fill with your bucket. Sometimes it's small, sometimes it's big. Sometimes you go with your bucket to the ocean and you can't fill it up for whatever reason. Something comes up. But you know, right, that the ocean's always there. And I think that's intuition for me, where there's different ways of getting to your goal. You know what the goal is. Like, you think in your mind, this is what I want. But intuition, right, tells us, and like just being in tune with spirit tells us that there is a bigger goal than your goal. There is so much that we can't see. But because we live on planet Earth, right, we have the ability to be individual creators. So therefore, we have the ability to set goals. We can set goals. How we're going to reach them, I think that's where intuition plays in, because the universe knows the best and most efficient way for us to reach that goal, or the goal beyond the goal that will serve us and everyone else around us in the best way possible. I think it's really lovely to see, for myself, when I set a goal, how I achieve the goal in a completely different way than how I thought it would happen. And the same thing for my clients too. It's really lovely, and I think the more difficulty comes when you're so attached to the specific goal and then how it's going to happen. And when it doesn't happen, like, you're all hurt and disappointed. But it's just I think it's a dance, Just, yes, set goals, set intentions. And where I come in all of that within my practice is really saying, you as a person need to step forward so the universe can come and meet you. But if you don't step forward, a part of you is going to feel like you don't actually deserve what you're asking for. If you know you want something, right, and like we can just trust intuition and trust God and that everything's going to come to us. But if you stay in bed and you don't actually take an action or step forward, deep down inside, you're not going to feel worthy. You're not by your actions and your thoughts and your being, you're not being that open container. So I think as we step forward into, forward towards our goal or towards our intention, however you want to call it, what we want, the universe says, oh, yes, I'm going to give you what you've been asking for, and I'm going to give it to you in such a way that you know that it's coming from God. And that's intuition. That's where intuition comes in for me. I have an example recently of how that's happened to me. So, with my coaching practice, I had this for like 6 months. I've been working on this whole marketing strategy and how I'm gonna get these many clients, and this is how I'm gonna do it. And it was like A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, and I was doing those things. I was doing the things that I put down on paper that I was gonna do, and I was enjoying them, but I wasn't getting the results that I thought I would get from it. And I actually have right now, I'm working with an intuition, specifically an intuition coach. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to release all this plan that I have. I mean, I know what I want, but I'm going to release the plan. And I'm going to just, do the best I can every single day. I mean, especially having a 3-month-old baby will really help you stay focused on doing one good thing every day, and then just trusting that the universe is going to take over. And, growing my coaching practice and doing this work with women empowerment and just stepping out of our comfort zones and living the best life that we can live, that's my deep, deep work. And recently I got a phone call from someone where I've been told about this person. They're starting a project in the town over from me. And I remember I kept telling the girl that she's like, oh, you got to talk to this guy. He's starting this project with women. And she would always forget to connect us. And I'm texting her hey, could you connect me to the guy? So finally, divine timing, he called me. I was like, hey, I've heard about you, and we should get together. And it was smooth as water. We came together, and I just taught my first workshop yesterday, on Saturday. And, yeah, it was the best workshop, and, I feel the best work that I have ever done with a group of people in my life as of yet.
That's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's, and I think that's a perfect example of yes, my goal is to work with women. My goal is to get my message out to as many women as I can. But how that's going to come about is going to change. And I'm just staying open to, the different ways that's happening for me.
I feel like I'm going through a bunch of that right now, too.
Mm-hmm.
I think I love that you describe it as a dance, because for me, I'm constantly reminding myself that, that moment of kind of surrender, I guess, and just allowing time to play out and things to kind of unfold. I have a really hard time with that, because I feel like if I'm not striving, then I'm not doing my part. I'm not stepping up to the plate kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a constant thing for me to try and to do that dance. So I love that description of it.
Yeah, no, it is challenging. It can be challenging, but I feel there is a sense of dedication, that is required when we're moving towards what we want, because I can hear from what I know and what I hear is you are blazing a new trail for yourself. It's when you're doing things that you haven't done before. You're going to get a lot of pushback from yourself, from people. So you just got to continue like a farmer, just every day come and water the plants and plant the new seeds and prune and Every day you can do something.
Yeah. Speaking of every day, you have a cool program out about creating the best year of your life one day at a time. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. That is that has been a labor of love. I've had my coaching practice now for about 7 years, and I was looking for a way to serve more people and to almost help people coach themselves in a certain way. And the name Create Your Best Year really came from this idea of me kind of measuring my life by the years. Where for me, every time that it was winter, I wanted to feel better every winter, and that's how I was like actually measuring the success in my life. It wasn't by income, or it wasn't by, am I with the love of my life. It was like, by the time the winters come, by the time that winter is here, do I feel better? Do I feel good? Because I come from the Caribbean, and being in a warm place is my natural state of being, when the winters would come, I would feel kind of blue. So I wanted to associate the winters with something positive, and I said, every day I'm going to do something to make myself feel better about the winters. And then I thought to myself, what if I just shared with people what I do? And that's when the program came about. And what it is so right now it's in the form of an audiobook and a coaching program where, people can literally, pop a CD into their car as they're driving, or they can download it on iTunes, on Amazon, and every day they can listen to the whole thing at once. And what it is a compilation of inspirational poetry, upbeat music, peaceful music that will help you tune into the inspiration in yourself, give you some how-to exercises on some life coaching exercises to help you take a look at your life from a bird's-eye perspective. So I also teach in there the Wheel of Life concept, where I have people look at 8 different areas of their lives and focus on one action that they can take every day to improve that area of their life. I have positive affirmations in there, and so the audiobook in itself just kind of gives you what working with me, kind of a snippet of what working with me would look like.
Yeah. Cool. So if time and money were not an option, what would you want more of?
I would want to travel more, to travel to new beautiful places, and I would love to have more time to spend in nature.
That's what I've been focusing on lately. It's so refreshing.
Yes.
What is one of your favorite recipes for happiness?
One of my favorite recipes for happiness, I think it's just being in the moment, embracing the moment, listening to my intuition, and actually taking action. It really makes me happy. There's so many things, but just living in the moment, embracing what's in the here and now. I'm a new mom now, so just being in the moment with my new family and my daughter. There's just so much that can happen to you from just embracing the present moment.
Yeah, very powerful. That's a good intention in itself.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I'm so grateful for all the wisdom that you've come here to share, and we are going to include links to your program and your website and stuff so people can reach out to you if they're interested. And I just love that you're out in the world trying to make a difference and empowering women and sharing your wisdom to help others. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for having me on, and, more kudos to you for creating this space, for people like me to be able to share, what we're up to, and I'm just really grateful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll talk to you later, okay?
Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode of Gather for Wellness Radio. Please head over to facebook.com/groups/gatherforwellness to join our heart-centered group focused on feeling great so you can live life to the fullest. I would also really appreciate if you'd leave a review over on iTunes, Stitcher, or the blog. And don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family and on social media. We hope you'll join us for the next episode. But until then, keep being awesome. The information provided on this podcast and on gatherforwellness.com is not intended to replace a one-on-one relationship with a qualified healthcare professional and is not intended to be taken as medical advice. Becky encourages you to make your own healthcare decisions based upon your research and in partnership with a qualified healthcare professional. The entire contents of this website and podcast are based upon the opinions of Becky Litwicki and her guests, unless otherwise noted. The information provided is for entertainment purposes only.